Radio Tiny House. I'm Barry Smith.
And I'm Beth Smith.
And we're here on a very chilly Tuesday morning. We finally have real winter weather.
Yes, we do.
And had a little bit of snow last night, not much. The kids were all excited, hoping that they'd have a snow day from their homeschool. I'm not sure how that would work. But
when you're a kid, you make it work.
When you're a kid, you make it work. And they were hopeful that we'd have several feet of snow on the ground today. And instead, we have maybe a spitting. Is that what you'd call that? I don't know what you'd call that.
You can see it on our carpet in front of our door.
Right.
That's it.
It's cold, and the sun's out now, or at least trying to come out now. So no snow day.
No snow day.
Bummer. But it is going to be chilly for the next week or so.
Yeah, we did. We put the chickens away to keep them warm.
We did.
The Great Pyrenees dog is delighted.
She loves the cold.
She loves the cold. We made sure the goats were locked up last night because, we want them to stay warm. All the dogs and all the cats were inside. So, yeah, we were trying to be careful about our animals and make sure everybody was... Oh, and the bunnies.
The bunnies
are
all in.
And they were in. We had one that was errant. We actually have two that have gone wild, so we don't know about those bunnies. But anyway,
escaped.
So everybody was trying to stay warm last night.
If you have a dream to live tiny or do the shed home conversion, and you want to have animals, just be forewarned that if you want rabbits, cage the crap out of them, because they will dig through anything.
Yeah, and our daughter didn't want mesh underneath because that's hard on their feet. So finally, we put concrete pavers under their little hutch.
Right.
Because we wanted they go up and down. They've got a bunny ladder. Anyway.
But we did throw hay down.
We softened
bedding and stuff to make it more appropriate for bunny feet.
Dig out.
Right.
Because we have chased more bunnies.
So what'll happen is, because we've had cold weather now, come Christmas it'll be 75 degrees in a typical North Georgia Christmas.
You're not going to hear anybody over here complaining.
Oh, I don't like it. I think Christmas ought to be chilly.
Well, we live where we live because we like seasons.
Right.
Like when we lived in the Pacific Northwest, we had two months
seasons.
Of summer,
yep.
And the rest was cold, rainy weather.
Yep.
And that was not the kind of seasonal plan I had in mind.
No.
And then Florida, I used to travel a lot, and I would often end up in Florida in the middle of winter, and everybody be wearing their shorts, and that's just not. I like having seasons.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't necessarily like it when it gets in the teens.
We had a dream of moving out west, and I was thinking Wyoming, Utah, Idaho, something like that, and we wound up in Louisiana.
Well, that was west.
It is west. We didn't specify, but we eventually did wind up.
We didn't send it to the universe correctly.
About as far west as you can get in the lower 48s from Atlanta. And had a great time. I actually loved living out in Tacoma, Washington. It was
but wow,
cold and wet and beautiful during the summers, though. Absolutely
for 2 months,
gorgeous.
It was great.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome. Today is Tuesday, December 1st. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We did.
Only 25 days till Christmas. The kids keep telling me.
Yes, our youngest granddaughter, who's 5, has developed a calendar. It's a countdown calendar, or maybe it's a count-up calendar. I don't know how you describe that. When Christmas is. She's very excited about Christmas this year.
And she describes to me how she's marking each one off with 1 slash. She's just very particular and very funny.
So we had a great tiny house Thanksgiving, or shed house Thanksgiving. We had our youngest daughter and our grandkids, who actually live on our property, come over. We Skyped with our other daughter. Actually, our other 2 daughters, because Shannon is kind of our adopted daughter.
Right.
And they had a good time. We had a good time.
We ate too much.
We ate way too much. Yeah.
We had too many things. We ate too much. It's hard when you're used to cooking for like 20, because I've always been kind of we've always had lots of people over for holiday meals, but so I'm like making 5 potatoes, feeling like I'm used to making 5 pounds of potatoes. So
but we did have.
I did get chastised that there weren't enough leftovers, so I'll have to kind of figure it out next year.
Well, you are the home ec major. Didn't they teach you to cook major meals for only 6 people?
I can't even comment.
So hope you had a great Thanksgiving. If you're not in the U.S., then I hope you had a great day on Thursday. We're all getting ready for Christmas now and getting ready to decorate. Although I know Beth won't decorate our shed home outside if it's cold like this.
No, I'm against that.
So we've got to wait until it gets to be at least 70 degrees before she
I
thaws
like the
out.
seasons when I can peek out. I don't want to be in the season. 5 degrees of comfort.
That's right. So we've already talked about Thanksgiving. It was great. Beth is a phenomenal cook.
When I want to be.
Well, which is usually.
Usually, I cook
some
almost
days
every
she
day.
goes, "Oh,
Screw it.
what do you
We're
want
gonna
to
eat
Yeah,
out.
what do you want to have for supper?" I don't know. What do you want to have for supper? And she'll say, "Oh, just start an IV."
Right.
And although I can do that, I don't have a food IV.
Right.
Would you like hamburger or chocolate shake? So today I just wanted to continue on a discussion that we kind of started last week about the top reasons for going tiny. And for me, one of those is just to have outdoor spaces, because we have, now you can't necessarily do this if you're in downtown, whatever it may be, and you're on a lot. That's not a whole lot of outdoor space, but we've got several acres here, and we can work outside, we can be outside. We just finally finished the fences.
Well, sort of finished. I mean, we still have the
What
board.
else do we have to do?
This is a never-ending project. We started in May.
You know the song, "This is the song that doesn't never ends." Well, this is the fence that never ends. So
Remember
yeah,
we were going to put boards across the front?
boards across,
and
yes.
we could never get them from Home Depot.
And now that
the right
Home
length.
Depot has them,
Now
we
they
have
have
to-
them. But we do have the wire up so the dog and the goats can stay inside.
Right,
But now
yes.
we want to not decorate it. We want to sturdy it up with some
we do want to
wood on the
decorate it,
front.
but
But the wood on the front first.
and we are going to be putting lights on it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
we're
by
gonna
the time we
decorate
get
it.
the
When
lights
it gets to
on
be
it-
70 degrees again, I'll get out there and decorate it. But we'd like to get the final boards on the outside
Yes.
if we can.
Well, we'll
That
do
may or
that.
may not happen.
It'll happen before Christmas.
Okay.
It has to.
All right.
So, anyway, reasons for going tiny. I think one of them is just to have space to kind of, within reason, do what you want to do.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what your motivation is. If you want to go tiny and live in a backyard, in an accessory dwelling unit, or in a tiny little cottage in somebody's backyard or over a garage, then that may be a different story. For us, it was, we did want some room. I need outdoor space. I just can't imagine living in a condo.
Right.
I go outside. I'm great at spring and fall. Summer's not so good for me. But I do love to have outdoor space. So, we felt that was important to us.
Yes, it's and when you read in through our group or our page on Facebook, we have a page on Facebook called My Tuff Shed Home, because we live in a
Tuff
Tuff
Shed.
Shed Home. And
Because
Beth,
we found it in the Home Depot parking lot.
that's right. Beth started a group called Tiny Houses Shed Homes. And most of the people that say, that they want to have a tiny house will say, "I want to buy land and have a tiny house on it, or put a shed home on it."
But not everybody.
Not everybody can do that.
Right.
But a lot of people have access to space, maybe in somebody's backyard. I know this is going on in California right now, just because the housing situation out in California is crazy.
And we're going to talk about that next week.
Yes, we are. So people have to do that. But the majority of people, when they dream about living tiny, or they dream about, a lot of people dream about getting a tiny home on wheels and just going places. I don't know how many people that have tiny houses on wheels actually do go places.
No, because they're heavy and long and big, and they're hard to move. And I think people have the idea that they'll move,
Right.
but they don't as much. And so I think that becomes problematic. And but we did it for land. We're going to talk about somebody that's doing it in a more of a tiny house setting in Tampa. We got a great article that we'll talk about whenever you say I can.
Well, that's usually at the end. We talk about news at the end. Remember, because we got to keep people
keeping
interested,
me
and they're going to go, "I got to have that news."
Structured, right. Keep me structured.
It's not political news.
No. No, we don't do that. Anyway, for us, it was important to have the outdoor space. yeah, so that's what we are choosing. But the
Right.
great thing about this movement is there are various trees of it, if you will. There's
Right.
Accessory dwelling units in somebody's backyard. There's buying your own small lot. There's renting a lot,
In like a campground kind of a thing,
or even a mobile home park or a tiny home park. Yeah, there are lots of different ways to shed.
right.
We did a Tuff Shed built on site because we felt we had to meet code to be able to build in our county. But not everybody wants to do that or has to do that. So then
Right.
they do what I call drag and drop sheds. So there's various ways for lots of people to get involved in this. It just depends on how you, where you need to live and how you want to live.
Well, right, and you can do drag and drop sheds to code. I think you just have
It's
to.
tougher.
It's tougher, but you can do that. But like one of the things we want to do is Beth has fallen in love with grain bins.
I have.
And-
I mean, that sounds like a weird thing. But I'm lusting after the whole grain bin. Well, we've been wanting an outdoor
Right.
pavilion type space. And we, interestingly enough, live by a metal company, which is where we got the roof for our first tiny house.
Actually, both, because the Tuff Shed got their metal from B&M.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Well, anyway, so they have on the outside this really cool kind of carport thing that you can buy these big metal trusses and put them up. And I've been sort of lusting about that.
Right.
But then somebody posted, and so we thought about maybe using those for like a pavilion, outdoor kitchen, or whatever. Because when you live tiny, you end up entertaining in outdoor spaces.
Right.
Well, then I saw this grain bin.
Only if the temperature is,
Right. Only if it's
5
between the 5 degrees
degrees.
of comfort. Anyway, so I found this grain bin, and I said to Barry, "Oh, this is awesome." So I've been sort of now Pinteresting grain bins. They're pretty cool.
They are pretty cool. I didn't know that. Living in Georgia or in the South,
We
really
have
anywhere,
some.
we have some. You don't see them in the South as much as you do in the West and Midwest, but I've looked at them and they were. Oh, she's sneaking over. Here, let me. I'm going to drift too.
Yeah, we're drifting. We're trying to also video this, so I
Yeah,
realize I'm falling off the camera.
Here, well, so we've got a YouTube channel that is
Uh-huh.
up and running.
Yay,
Radio
finally.
Tiny House YouTube channel is up and running. We've got just a couple of episodes up there. They're shot right now on an iPhone with an external mic. However, that's going to change because we've purchased a nice mirrorless camera that we'll be using henceforth. And be running all the audio through there as well. So we'll be able to get the good audio, which
He's a nut about.
got to have it through both the camera and on our podcast, just on the audio portion of the podcast.
Right, but I was sneaking over, so I'm not trying to scoot back
Well,
over.
that's fine.
And, I've got to think, lots to think about here.
It's okay with
Video,
me if
audio.
you're cold and you want to cuddle. I'm okay with that too.
I'm a little chilled around the edges. The office. Go ahead.
It was 28 degrees in our office when I walked in here this morning and turned on the heat.
And the
it was,
Mac computer does not like that.
No.
Neither does the keyboard. So we had to warm ourselves up a little
I
bit.
had to warm ourselves and I almost said a bad word.
She
the
did.
the darn computer
The
up.
darn computer. But then, we can't have that on because it's just a space heater. We
Right.
can't have that on.
So,
But
yeah, because it makes an awful racket.
I have a solution. We're going to solve this problem.
Heated floors.
Yep, I'm getting one of the rug buddy thing for
A
this
Norwegian
for this space.
sauna.
Well, yeah, but later. See, that's the
So-
problem when you know how to build things. Then you go, oh, I could have a grain bin. I could have this.
I could
I
have
could
a sauna.
have a sauna. I could have and so it becomes a problem. That's
A-
why
and-
I'm a little bit of I'm a minimalist in a lot of things, but we're a little bit of a tool hoarder
We are.
because you never know when you're going to need a framing gun because you might want to build a sauna.
And Beth also wants. We're way off track here.
Yeah.
Beth wants an earth oven as well
Yeah.
outside. So
Pizza
we'll have to do that soon. Well, no, and maybe this spring we can do that because
Yeah.
that's going to have to. Maybe we can do that in the grain bin
Yeah,
or
there
under
you
the
go.
grain bin.
There you go. See?
So anyway, grain bins I never really thought about. Much like tiny homes, I never really thought about it until Beth showed them to me. The old rusty ones you see, I thought they were just eyesores.
Well, now they're turning into really cool outdoor spaces
They
for
are.
people.
So that's for us. That's one of the reasons that we decided to buy some property and build a tiny house and then a shed home on it, is because we wanted to have that extra space outdoors where we could play, where we could relax, where we could have just spaces that we didn't, you don't hear traffic where we are, you don't hear your neighbors where we are. We do hear guns.
Yeah, we live in the country.
To me, that's somebody's either hunting or practicing. That's the sound of freedom to me, just like when the
We're not talking
Air
about
Force
politics.
flies over. Love it. That's not politics.
It sort of is.
Well, when I was a kid, there was a guy that fired a cannon 4 times a year. Now, I don't know what dates
We
he
have somebody
chose
near
for
us
that.
that does a cannon.
We do have somebody near us that has a cannon. That's a little much.
Yeah.
But it is kind of, when it goes off, it's like, what the? And then
Heck
it's
is
like,
that?
oh, yeah, cannon.
Right, it's the cannon guy.
So anyway, we did this for the outdoor space
Right. Okay.
and outdoor living opportunities.
Exactly. And so, I mean, the thing about living the way we live, we've got 2 houses and a shoffice, and so we move around our property a lot, and I think that gives us reason to do. Oh, and a barn, a goat barn.
A goat barn.
But
That was a tool shed.
yeah, so now that's why we're struggling with
Then
tools.
that was going to be my pub, and now the goats
The
are there.
goats came, and then we had to have a place for them. Anyway, so let's talk about on bullet point 3.
Well, now wait a minute before we get to that. Do we want to talk about Rhapsody in Blooms or not?
Yeah.
Okay. She says no. Sorry, Robin, we're not going to talk about Rhapsody in Blooms today at rhapsodyinblooms.com.
Got it.
So here, this is I've got down here a shameless plug.
All right, for my class.
For Beth's class.
Shameless plug for Beth's class. So, as you know, on Radio Tiny House and on my Facebook group and whatever, we give away tons of free information. If you're interested in this at all, you'll find all kinds of information there. But the problem is that every county, every state, every city, every place has different zoning and different codes.
Right.
And I can't do anything but talk about general stuff unless I know what's happening in your life and where you want to build, right? And many people, this is complicated. It's doable, but it's complicated. So what I'm offering is an online workshop on November the 12th. It's very limited. December 12th. I'm sorry. I need to get in the right month. December 12th. It's very limited, and we're going to do individual help on people where they're stuck, right? So it's an online Facebook event, so you can go to my Tuff Shed Home page, and you should be able to find it under events if it doesn't come up first. It's also, I posted it in my group in case you're in my group, but you should be able to go in there and just click on it, and there is cost. It's $29. But I will make sure you get what you need to solve your problem. There's lots of bonuses. There's lots of different things I'm offering. I spend hours doing this stuff.
So you're going to help people with, let's say, if they have a code issue.
No.
You're
well,
not?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So let's talk about what I feel like I can offer. I can offer you how to actually get to your tiny house, like land and codes and where you find all the information you need. I call myself a tiny home strategist, but there are way too many challenges with the building of your house for me to be able to solve that.
Right.
It depends on so many things. But to actually get you into the right spot, into the right kind of building, or pick the right kind of building, the kind of thing that will match your lifestyle and the land that you're on, etc. So that's what I do for people. I get them started on the process.
You need to scoot back over there because half your face is
I'm moving
sliding
again. I'm scrunching up closer to Barry. There. How's that?
That's good.
So there's lots of things to think about. Anyway, back to the class. So if you're interested in that at all, or if you feel like you're interested in learning about how and where you can build your tiny house, that's an opportunity for you. We'd love to have you.
Well, we can also put an announcement on the Radio Tiny Home or House page.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I know people are going to that page, so that's always fun to see.
I mean, clearly, go for it.
So, yeah, we can do that. We don't have a My Tuff Shed Home page. We do have the website.
We're going to back up. We do have a My Tuff Shed Home
page, but
page.
not website, I guess I was trying to say.
Say that right.
So, yes, we do have a My Tuff Shed Home page on Facebook, and that's where this will be advertised, right?
Yeah, you can find
cool.
it there.
All right. Moving on. Is that it?
Yep.
That all you have for your shameless plug?
Yep.
All right. Well, moving on. we've got some interesting news today. I'm going to go ahead and do this one first because this is right in front of my face. And according to Home Advisor,
Oh, okay.
you know the group Home Advisor, that's their theme song.
Is it really?
Uh-huh. It's not me singing it on there, but according to Home Advisor, tiny homes are becoming more popular. Well, everybody that's involved with tiny houses and shed homes has kind of known this for a while, especially this year with coronavirus going on. But they've listed the top 8 states according to their research. So number 8.
Well, he's going to say that state, and then I'm going to say something about each state. He doesn't know I'm doing this.
Like a travelogue. Okay.
No, go for it. I'm ready.
North Carolina. Charlotte is a beautiful.
No.
Okay. So North Carolina is number 8.
Okay, and that is a state that has adopted Appendix Q, which gives you tiny home codes for your tiny home, 350 square feet or so.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yep.
So you can go tinier than.
Right. Yeah. And you
500
can also
square
do
feet.
tiny homes on wheels in North Carolina. But if you're looking to build a foundation one, it has adapted the tiny home code.
Cool.
Next.
Number 7, Arizona. She's drawing a blank on Arizona.
No, it doesn't. They have not adopted Appendix Q.
Okay. Number 6, Washington State, our former
Place of living.
Yes.
Yep. No, they haven't done anything that direction yet. Although there's are huge homeless tiny home communities within Washington State, so I can't imagine Appendix Q is not coming on the heels of that.
I'm sure that Washington State will.
Right. If you go into Seattle, there's like wooden tents for people.
Right. Number 5, Oregon.
Appendix Q.
Oregon is
Appendix Q.
Number 4, the small state of Texas.
Yep, they've adopted it too, and there's a lot of tiny homes going on in Texas, both shed and on wheels.
Right. Yeah, we get a lot of comments from people in Texas that are looking to build either shed homes or tiny houses. Texas is just a booming place right now.
Well, I'm going to comment on that about Colorado, but I'll say the same thing about Texas, and then I won't say it about Colorado. Everybody's leaving California, and they're going to Texas and Colorado, and so...
And Idaho and...
Stuff in my throat. Anyway, the problem with that, of course, is land and houses are being driven sky high.
Right.
So that's a challenge right there. But Texas has Appendix Q.
All right. Number 3, Colorado.
No comment except what I just made.
So it's like a courtroom. Where were you on the night of the 21st?
No comment.
No comment. Number 2, Florida.
Florida is the land of tiny homes. There's a trailer everywhere in Florida. So I don't think tiny homes on wheels are no problem in Florida, but they have adapted Appendix Q, so you can also build tiny homes within, certain counties. Now, I do know that our Tuff Sheds are not usually available in Florida because of the 2-story thing.
They are in some areas, right.
Right, so it has to be like away from the coastal areas. So if you decide you want a 2-story Tuff Shed in Florida, I do know that those are not, they're harder to find.
Yeah,
because the hurricane codes.
The model that we have is a TR1600, and because of the 2-story build, they're harder to find in hurricane-prone areas. Although we had massive winds the other night, and we had lots of wind, but they predicted a lot of rain, and so we went out and extended the roof of the barn to cover the chicken coop, and it rained a little bit, but not much. Had a lot of rain. And number 1
is California.
All this is California.
And the reason for that is...
You do your job, I'll do mine.
Sorry.
Okay. Number 1, California.
Okay. They have also adopted Appendix Q, and they've done a lot of forward thinking with accessory dwelling units. People living in people's backyards. I think we're going to talk about that next week. But Here's the problem with California is they're having to do it because land and permitting and all the things that you would need to build a house in California are way higher than anywhere else. So people are living tiny and are being kind of forced to because of, most of the places in California are pretty high concentration of people, like
Right.
LA and
San Diego and San Francisco.
Right. So, I think out in more rural areas it's a little different, but still permitting is really expensive in California. But they have adopted Appendix Q.
Well, that's cool.
There you go.
How about that? She's just a wealth of knowledge on Appendix Q.
Yes, I am. What can I tell you?
All right. Now, she's got a story that was actually sent to us from one of our listeners.
Yes.
And it's in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on tiny houses. So take it away, Beth.
Well, we talked a little bit about Florida being, the land of tiny houses. In fact, we've thought about a second home, maybe in Florida, because, we'd love to go to the beach or whatever, but our kids hate the beach. But what they love is Disney.
Right.
And we are thinking about a tiny home in Florida for rental purposes and for our family. But for like a getaway, and then we can go to Disney, right? Anyway. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution had an article about, by the way, it's out of the Washington Post, I think, but it's a tiny home done in a modern, it's a tiny home on wheels, done in a modern vein. The lady who lives in it is in her 80s.
Oh, wow.
She just bought it. She had been traveling the world in a van or, a RV, and decided to get out. She did that for a while, then she got into a house. She hated living in the house, so now she's back in a tiny home. But it's set up kind of like a campground. There are 4 to 5 tiny homes in this area, and it's very modern. Looks almost like a shipping container. It cost about right under $100,000, and then she lives in the space called Escape Tampa Bay Village, and is paying for her lot rent and her mortgage, if you will, on her tiny home, and that's about $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Now, is that cheap? Not really. I mean, $1,000 a month is a chunk of change,
right?
But if it covers
depends
everything,
on where you are.
And this is sits really low. She's got a cute little deck she can go out on. So, but if you move into an assisted living or some sort of group setting for people that are in their 80s, you're going to be paying a whole lot more than $1,000 a month.
Right.
So I think it's I think it gives people that are seniors. Now we all, you watch the movie Cocoon, and you think about people like that are living in Florida, right? But I think it gives seniors the potential to have some real freedom and still have their own space, but
right.
Still be kind of in a place where people can kind of watch you, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'm sure that, whether or not they allow it or not, but I'm sure these also are bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure if we do one of these, we'll do a bed and breakfast. But, it just gives, I think, when we think about aging, the last thing we want to do is live with a bunch of other old people. Sorry. And I know that there are reasons that's helpful, but I would rather, I need my space. I need to be able to go outside. I don't want to live in a condo and apartment type setting until I just can't do anything differently.
Right.
So this, I think, is a way also to give people the freedom that they want without huge overhead.
Right. Yeah, and with relatively low investment. It's if you're looking at, $100,000 for a tiny home seems like
not cheap.
It's not cheap, but it's cheaper than $300,000 for a new house or to move someplace that's designed an older community like the Villages.
Right.
I have a friend that's getting ready to sell their house in Georgia and move to the Villages, so I've been giving her a hard time about that.
Well,
but they do have excellent golf if you like golf.
Well, interestingly enough, the Tiny Home, United Tiny Home Association or whatever, hosted a tiny home thing at the Villages.
Right.
We wanted to go, but with COVID, we just opted out.
And the Villages is actually looking at helping to build a tiny home
That's
community.
That's what I was going to mention. Yeah. I had heard a rumor that they were. I don't know if that's set in stone.
I read that the other day.
That makes a lot of sense.
But you can't believe everything you read.
Oh, right. Or hear or see.
Right.
No. Anyway, so she's got a lot of amenities. It sounds like perfect for me. So I think that we maybe, if we do the Florida thing, it probably would be in some sort of setting. Like
well,
that.
yeah, and the interesting thing about Florida is that they have all types of tiny homes. I mean, we went a couple of years ago. We went to Disney, and we saw at a campground. We were driving down the highway, and Beth goes, "Get off at the next exit and turn around." So I got off. We went back to this campground, and there were RVs everywhere, but they had a couple of rows of tiny homes, these little shotgun houses. That were just, a bedroom, a bathroom. I think one of them had 2 bedrooms, one at either end. Very efficient design.
Those. I couldn't remember what you were talking about.
Close to Disney.
Yeah. But actually, they were hardy planked on the outside.
Oh,
and everything. They were not on
nice.
wheels.
They were just tiny houses that were built there.
Right.
But when you live with somebody that's a tiny house enthusiast,
you have to get used to it.
You have to get used to
turn around.
Hit the brakes, find a place to turn around.
Right. Sorry, it is who I am. It is who I am.
No, well, we love it.
I'm a tiny house nerd. What can I say?
We love tiny houses. It's and they're getting more and more interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I have yet to see a wine barrel on wheels.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting on that.
Yeah. By the way, we have a community that's being built here in Atlanta that we talked about before a little bit, and they finally have their first house framed in. So we're going to take a road trip soon.
Right.
Maybe we'll do a live tiny house podcast
that would be fun.
From the Pocket neighborhood that they're developing in Atlanta. It's in the suburb of Atlanta, but close in. And I'll see. I haunt their Facebook page.
She does. She's a stalker.
I'm a stalker. And so I'm sure that they will let me come and do a tour, and we'll show people tiny houses not on wheels.
Right.
In a community, in a city. That's following the Appendix Q codes, and putting together tiny houses. The architect and I have become kind of friends on Facebook, so
that's cool.
It'd be cool to show off some
that
of
would
his
be good
amazing work.
To show that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. All right. So anything else?
Well, that's all I've got today.
All right. Well, we do have an announcement. Who are we interviewing next week?
Oh, yeah. So, as we mentioned earlier, we have a Tuff Shed, and I have bumped into another person who has a Tuff Shed, the same Tuff Shed we have, but she did it a little differently than we did. They put their own, what's the word? Paneling. Siding.
Oh, okay.
Siding on the outside, but she did what I wanted to do and put double porches on her house. Barry has convinced me that's not the way to go, and so we are at a porch impasse.
I'd like to see it.
You can.
Because I think double porches is a bit much.
I would love to be able to walk out my bedroom window door. Turn my window into a door.
You can do that now. I can put a ladder down.
Right. And go have coffee out on my porch. Barry doesn't think we'll use the upper porch. So I'm going to, I told her I have porch envy. Anyway, so we're going to interview her. I think she's in Texas. But we're going to interview her next week on the podcast. And then we'll be branching out to some other things. But she agreed to do that with me. So I want to talk to her. Well, of course, I have another motive is that I want to talk to her about her porches.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing right there. She's just got this porch envy thing going on.
I do have porch envy.
So she's going to stalk her, too. Like she's stalking this community being built in Atlanta.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, wait. I want to say more thing. One more thing.
Excuse me.
Bless you. We talked about us going on YouTube.
Yep.
So this episode will be up on YouTube soon. If you prefer to be on YouTube to listen up, or I don't know.
And we'll have better audio next time.
Well, yeah, because we're excited about more technology. Every time we turn around, Barry wants new technology.
Well, you have to have it in order to be, YouTube is a competitive market, and you got to be on your game.
You do have to be on your game. I was on a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it just aired yesterday. The podcast is called Simplicity Beckons, and this nicest girls that are doing they're looking at it's like this month was mindset. And one of the things about mindset from simplicity point of view, of course, is downsizing and tinies. So we'll put a link at the bottom of this podcast. But I think I've also asked Barry if we can just stick it also on our Radio Tiny House podcast thing. So if you want to listen, clearly I'm on it, but they have a lot of other nice points that they say. So I would like to, we'll try to get you access to that. I just think they're doing a really good job of what they're doing. You got both their young moms that are, trying to live a simple, meaningful life.
Well, we have the file to do that, so I'll put that up on radiotinyhouse.com. We can put it on Facebook if you want to do that. We can put some links
wherever we are. We'll put it there.
Yeah, that's because that's just who we are.
That's just who we are.
Believe in sharing and giving information.
Right.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks for listening in. I hope you have a great week. This is Barry Allergy Smith.
Yes, you are. And Beth Smith signing off.
Signing off. We hope you have a great week. Thanks. Oh, and RhapsodyInBlooms.com. .com.